Everyone just loves New Mexico to upset. Number 6 have the potential to go at least one more round. Deron Holmes, Shahade Wells, and Enrique Freeman, 3 players you have to know about. Went with OJ today. Orange juice. Little Tuesday. All right, let's rock and roll. It is time. It is February. The Super Bowl is over. It is now college basketball time. For the next month and a half, college basketball is going to take center stage. And all the work that we put in, and all the games that we watched, and all the discussions that we had, and all the comments, the back and forth and debate, this is go time. We had the practice. Remember those practices in high school after Thanksgiving where you come in, you do 2 a days, it's cold, you're doing pivoting drills, nobody cares, and then it all comes together for your county or state title. I'm ready to rock and roll. We're ready to get into today's games. Some of these lines have moved. Let's take a look at these games, where we see them playing out today. Have to be careful. And we had some people in Discord, and they're right on the money. Hi, Roland is here. He's saying he's ready. He likes Kansas State getting points. Yes, please. I may agree. It is a tricky slate. That's what we have to do. Costco in the house. Appreciate you as always. Let's roll. As always, good. Yes, great to see you, Austin. You are the man. And yeah, the lines get sharper. They get sharper as the year goes on, so we have to be careful. But I will tell you that what is working lately in Discord here, remember, join us, FTN Fantasy, early 15, get you 15% off. You go to ftnfantasy.com, you click, you subscribe, monthly, annual, whatever you want, and you go to the Discord button at the top. And that gets you into our Discord where we have these discussions. Plays have been very good during the week. And again, I'm always better with the underdogs and the favorites. That's the way it's been this year, and I think we're ready to go. Here we go. Couple lines that may have moved, so I'll give you the update. Let's go through it and see where we're at here. First one. This one's now at 2.5. Now, I'm not saying, remember, I discuss all the games, but I'm going to put the top plays into the Discord for FTN Fantasy, but I will discuss these with you. Here is my thought with Buffalo. When 2 teams that are not good play each other, I usually want to take the points. Buffalo is not good, but neither is Northern Illinois. Now, you look at Buffalo, they are 2-8 in the MAC, the Mid-America Conference. They play at a very fast pace. They are terrible at defending the 3. The metrics are awful, but they did win away at Western Michigan and scored 85 points. They did beat Central Michigan 75-69 at home. They played Georgia State in that crossover game with the Sun Belt at home, and they lost by 5. They're playing a little bit better. The logic says to take Northern Illinois here. Northern Illinois has usually been a good cover machine. They didn't cover against Louisiana, but they're only 1-9 in the Mid-America Conference. So these are 2 teams that are not good. Buffalo is not good. But in this situation, I just don't know that Northern Illinois is ready to be favored. Even at home, I don't know if they're good enough. So this could be a play later on the Discord. Buffalo +2. It's now 2.5. This reminds me of last night's Lafayette at American game, where American is the better team. They're home, but Lafayette usually played them well. And sure enough, we got 3.5, and ended up getting that cover. It almost got the win outright. This one I would be careful of. Your instinct says Northern Illinois. I come back and say maybe Buffalo, but you have to check Discord. Not sure about that one. This one I would stay away from. This is a lot of points. I would stay away from this one. Akron has been fantastic. They're an 11-game winning streak. They have a 1-game lead over Miami of Ohio in the Mid-America Conference. There is no look-ahead spot at all here. They have Western Michigan, Central Michigan, Northern Illinois. They have Ohio, who stinks. So there really isn't a reason for them not to absolutely blow the doors off of Western Michigan. There is no reason. It's just a lot of points right now. And Western Michigan beat Ball State, beat Eastern Michigan, struggled away at Ohio, which was brutal, and Georgia Southern. I don't know what to do with this game. I know people are going to be interested because it's a really high line. Last night with Mississippi Valley State, didn't even come close to covering their big number. I think there's better spots here. I would avoid this Akron-Western Michigan game. Akron is really good. Are they going to win by 20? Maybe. Could it be a sloppy spot because there's really no motivation at all? They're not losing this game. Maybe. They haven't seen Western Michigan. I think there's better choices. I'm taking Bowling Green here, and I hate Bowling Green. You know that. Guys, Ohio is a paper tiger. They're just not good under Jeff Bowles. I've seen this team play. They're sloppy. They're not great shooting threes. They haven't played Bowling Green yet this year. I just don't think Ohio should be favored on the road. I don't. They've lost to Toledo at home. They lost to Miami of Ohio away. They lost to Eastern Michigan away. They lost to Akron away. They have not played well on the road. This is a rivalry game. When you have a rivalry game from two teams in the same state, I'm going to take the points every single time. I don't like Bowling Green at all. You know that. I don't like Ohio more. Maybe Marcus Johnson, the big man, 6'7", 270. Maybe he hits some threes and gets going here. This is a coin flip game. I'm going to take Bowling Green in this spot. I am. If Iowa State is as good as I think they are, I think Iowa State wins this game easily. Iowa State can't mess around now. And the good news is Momcilovic is back. Milan Momcilovic is back, which gives them full strength. Every great team that has made the Final Four or made the championship game has gone through a streak of losses. When UConn won their first title 2 years ago, they lost 4 of 6 in early January. When Auburn made their run to the Final Four, they lost 3 in a row in the middle of the year. And that's what threw a lot of us off them as a possible champion. Iowa State has gone through their trouble. Now let's look at it. They lost away to West Virginia, the game they just struggled in, no problem. That game was 64-57. Momcilovic did not play in that game, so they were absolutely shorthanded. And West Virginia had a really good game. Javon Small had 27 points in that game. Those happen. They beat UCF 108-83 at home. They beat Arizona State. They went away to Arizona without Momcilovic and absolutely should have won that game if Caleb Love didn't hit a full court 3 at the end of the game. So if they beat Arizona at Arizona, which no one does, would we be upset about Iowa State? But they lost that game. Then Kansas State at home, they get blown out. Odd game. Then Kansas away, they lose. But Momcilovic returns in the game against TCU. He has 14 points, looks really good, and they blow out TCU by 30 at home. Iowa State is a national champion contender. Iowa State is a team that can absolutely win it all. Iowa State has the same archetype profile as Virginia did in 2019, slow, deliberate pace, but they also have some go-to scorers like a Keyshawn Gilbert, like a Curtis Jones. Joshua Jefferson has been a tremendous asset for them. I am taking Iowa State at UCF against a Johnny Dawkins team I don't like. I totally understand this is the second time they're playing. I understand this is a revenge spot. I get all of that. This game reminds me of the Iowa State game when they played Iowa earlier this year. Rough spot, big crowd, everyone's fired up. I'm sure it's going to be a big game for UCF, and they still found a way to pull away. I think Iowa State is a Final Four legit contender. I probably will have them going to the Final Four. Do not get thrown off by their 3 losses. Losing Momcilovic is huge. It reminds me of when DeAndre Hunter was out for Virginia and they lost in the first round of UMBC, and no one talks about that except DeAndre Hunter could be the 6th man of the year in the NBA this year. Talented player. This matters. I'm taking Iowa State laying the points here. Letdown spot, check. Possibly going to be shorthanded in this game without Elijah Martin, check. Not sure if Walter Clayton is fully recovered, check. Motivation for this game after the big win against Auburn. They're 7-3. They're not going to win the SEC because Auburn and Alabama are both ahead of them, and one of them is going to end up winning that game on Saturday and be too far ahead. Check. Mississippi State really well coached. Check. Mississippi State really good defensive team. Check. All of that adds up. The only thing you should be careful of is Mississippi State plays Mississippi on Saturday, and we know that's a really big game. But this line is odd. For a Florida team that just won on the road at Auburn, beating Auburn, for it only to be 1.5, they are the average fan is going to gravitate to Florida here. I'm going to gravitate to Chris Jans at home, getting 1.5. This is a Mississippi State team that beat Mississippi at home, that played Kentucky at home really well and lost a close game when Kentucky was fully loaded. I like them in this spot. I'll take Mississippi State. Florida's great. A little bit of a letdown. I'll take Mississippi State. Michigan got absolutely boat raced by Purdue the first time they played. And I have faded Purdue this year, and they've hurt me. Purdue has won 11 of their last 12 games. They are on a 4-game winning streak, and they beat Michigan 91-64 at home. So a team that lost at Purdue by 27 points is now favored. I think Michigan has the right fit to beat Purdue. I think you can get to Purdue. They're extremely well coached by Matt Painter. They have great chemistry with Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer, and Trey Kaufman-Wren's been really good inside. I think Michigan gets this game. I think Dusty May and Danny Wolf, they've won 4 straight games. Michigan is 10-2 in the conference. If they win this game, they are tied for first place. Purdue is due for a letdown. Purdue is due for a bad game. They've had a couple escapes. This is a big game for Michigan. Fired up, home crowd, first place on the line. Purdue is good. They're not great. I don't think Purdue is winning the Big Ten. I think it's time to regress a little bit tonight against Michigan's bigs inside. All we need is some production from the guards at Michigan, which is a little helter-skelter, but give me a good game from good old Trey Donaldson. Give me some shots from Roddy Gale, and away we go. Michigan -2. Miami of Ohio playing Toledo. Rivalry game here. Toledo is in the midst of a 5-game winning streak. They had the rough run where they lost to Akron. They lost to Kent State. So they're like, oh, we can't hang with the big teams. Toledo under Todd Kowalczyk, very good defensive, very good coach. They don't turn the ball over. They're great at making their free throws, and they're a very good team to beat, especially when they go on the road. Miami of Ohio coming off the win off of Troy. They're 9-1. Now here comes Toledo at home. I think Toledo is better than Miami of Ohio. I think Travis Steele has done a nice job since the Vermont loss back on December 18. They have won 12 of 13 games. I think Toledo gets them here. I think Toledo is the better team. I think Toledo is better on offense, and I think they have a profile that is good enough to beat a Miami team that does rely on the 3 heavily. And if their 3s aren't going down, you can beat them. 3.5 is too much, taking Toledo. Kent State is a lead on defense, but Kent State can't score. That's the problem. And that's why Kent State has been a little bit up and down this year. Lost to Ball State at home. Lost to Western Michigan at home. Lost to Miami of Ohio at home. Lost to Ohio, who's brutal, away. Lost to Akron at home. They've been very inconsistent. They have the Ohio game coming up. Again, they're going to have another battle, a rematch with Ohio. And here comes Central Michigan, a team they have not played, and a Central Michigan team that had a nice home win over Texas State, that beat Bowling Green at home by 19, that has played competitively well this year. I think Central Michigan, given the fact that they're very good on the offensive boards, given the fact that they force a lot of turnovers so they can battle Kent State in the turnover department, I think this is too many points. I don't trust Kent State's offense. I'm taking them there. Normally, I would take BYU because I tell you all the time that when a team is home and they're favored by 1.5, it always arouses suspicion for me because it really is a line that gravitates people to go with the favorite. But in this case against BYU, I am actually going to lay the points because I think BYU is not physical enough to win at West Virginia. Now, you know there's going to be no DeVries for the rest of the year, but Javon Small has played exceptionally well. They're very tough at home. They're a lead on defense. They guard the 3 very well, which BYU is going to want to hit. They're not great on the boards, but it's only 1.5. I don't trust BYU to win on the road. It has been a very good first year for Kevin Young, who has come over from the NBA and is coaching BYU. He's done an excellent job. They do have good offense, but they also struggle with their free throws, and they play 0 defense whatsoever. So if they don't hit their 3s, which I don't think they will hit at West Virginia, given the ruckus environment, given the defense, given the well-coached team that the Mountaineers are, they can struggle. They lost at home to Arizona. They lost away at Cincinnati by 18, another defensive team with a tough home court environment. The only teams they've won on the road against, Colorado, who's the worst team in the conference, and UCF. I don't think they get a road win here. 2 straight losses. I will take West Virginia at home. This is now up to 5.5. I struggle with Loyola Chicago. You know that. So definitely think twice about this one. I don't think Loyola Chicago is that good to win on the road at Richmond. Richmond has been improving throughout the year. They have played better. They've battled. They have struggled under Chris Mooney, but they've gotten things right. They are a strong team on the defensive boards. They're not great on the offensive boards, but Loyola Chicago is a team I faded earlier in the year. They rely on those wings to attack the basket. And if you can play solid defense and they don't hit 3s like Duquesne, they lose. They lost by 13 at Duquesne. That was a bad loss. And on the road this year, the only team that Loyola Chicago has beaten outright on the road has been LaSalle. Away St. Joe's, they lost by 36. Away Dayton, close game, but lost by 2. Away George Mason, close game, lost by 5. Away Duquesne, lost by 13. I think they're starting to show warts. You know my thoughts on Drew Valentine. They do have exceptional wing players that so many teams would die for, but I think Richmond getting the points is the way to go. Let's get to the comments here. Sorry, they're flying all over the place. Let's see. Here we go. Matt, great to see you. Thanks for joining us. Jerry, always good, my friend. Cheers to you. Helms, it's possible. It is possible that they get rolling. I don't think they're going to have Elijah Martin. And I do find that when you're losing your best player, after a couple of games, a clunker comes. Now, you're going to say that maybe the clunker for them was earlier. I get it. It's possible. But Mississippi State is a very tough team. And if this was Mississippi State -2, I would feel differently. I don't like Mississippi State getting the point at home. Austin said they're fully yeah, they had the flu going through the locker room last week. Austin, great insight. Appreciate it. Yeah, the hump is going to be rocking. Close game. Good defense. Hubbard has a night. Maybe you can tether Hubbard to the team. I'm with you. Yep, it's questionable. It's very questionable. Yeah, Purdue could. Jerry, I agree. Purdue could not miss in that game. They were on fire. They jumped out early. The game was over. Michigan has the Danny Wolf, Vlad Golden impossible matchup. Suppose Trey Kaufman-Renn gets a couple early fouls or something like that. I mean, they're going to be in trouble. Purdue is due for a clunker. Really well coached by Matt Painter. Very much like Rick Barnes. Sustained success over and over again, but not someone that gets the credit that they deserve. Michigan does turn it over a lot. I get it, but I think the Purdue regression is loading. That is absolutely crazy, Austin. I didn't know that. Toledo has beaten them 22 straight times. I don't know how I feel about that because sometimes it works for and against you. That is absolutely crazy. Nuts. Jerry, you want to talk about Indiana State? I don't think I have that one here. Let me check. Let me check on Indiana State. Hold on a second, Jerry. Oh, yeah. I love Northern Iowa. I love Ben Jacobson. I love this team in so many ways. Leon Bond has been outstanding. And I love Leon Bond, but he hasn't played for 4 straight games. He's been out. Northern Iowa without Leon Bond is a shell of their former self. Somebody put in the comments, if Bond is back, I could make an argument for Northern Iowa tonight. If Bond is not back, then I'm probably thinking it's Indiana State. Indiana State has won 3 of their last 4 and actually lost in overtime to Drake. So they've beaten some teams. The key is Bond. I need to know the status of Leon Bond if anybody has it out there. High Roland was going to the game. There's a massive snowstorm. Snow. Stay safe. Yeah, we'll talk about the futures at the end, Matt. I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't think Mooney. He just had a bit. You remember he had the heart issue at the end of last year too, Austin. I don't think his seat is hot. I think he's fine. I think he's fine. They'll give him a chance to rebuild, and I think next year they'll be very good again. Let's get back to the games. I'm not picking this game, but people want to talk about it. This is a very tricky game on many levels, so I'm not picking it. I just want to discuss it here. Auburn has the bad loss to Florida, so that is something they're going to be focused on tonight to not lose 2 in a row. They also play Alabama, an apocalyptic matchup on Saturday because first place is on the line. The winner of that game has a very good chance to win the conference. Now, it's not automatic because they have 2 games left with Alabama. They have the one on Saturday and they have the one Saturday, March 8th. So they play them twice. But this is about as sandwich spot can get. The problem is I don't think Vanderbilt is built to necessarily win a game like this. They were shaky against Texas. They were in trouble. And that was a Texas game without Chendell Weaver or Tremont Mark. So Vanderbilt, as much as they're great at home and has had some great wins, they beat Tennessee at home, they beat Kentucky at home. Mark Byington's done a great job his first year coming over from James Madison. That was shaky against Texas. So they lost to Oklahoma away. They lost to Florida away. They usually play well at home. It is a sandwich spot. I have no pick in this game. I don't know what to do because Auburn is in that sandwich spot. I think there's better spots here. Anybody got a clue on this one? I mean, Miami stinks, but I hate Adrian Autry. We faded Adrian Autry all year, and it's been the total right move. Syracuse is 11-13. They had a triple overtime win over Boston College. I think it was 8 points with the craziest cover you'll ever see, a triple overtime with 8 points. They won away at California. They won away at BC. Anybody got a feel in this game? I mean, Miami is dead man walking, but Miami did beat Notre Dame at home, if that's worth anything. I don't know. If you got a feel, let me know. I don't have a pick on this one. Just throwing it out there. I don't like Ball State. I don't like Eastern Michigan either, but I don't like Ball State. I have some addiction to the MAC. I have to pick these games. Ball State up and down. Lost to Northern Illinois away. Lost to Western Michigan home. Lost to Akron away. They beat Southern Miss in the crossover game, but only by 1. I like Eastern Michigan in this matchup. Stan Heath does a really good job. He's been there forever. They did beat Old Dominion, and they have not played Ball State yet this year. So this is a good matchup for them. They beat Bowling Green away. They beat Ohio at home. They beat Buffalo at home. I just think it's too many points. I'm fine with that there. Do I believe in Cincinnati? I kind of don't here. Cincinnati, they could be king of the little people. Utah on the road is also very scary to me because Utah on the road at Oak State lost and didn't cover. At Houston, destroyed by 34. At West Virginia, they just lost by 11. So not a big fan of them either. A lot of points. Cincinnati can't score. Cincinnati coming off the win over BYU and UCF. They go to Iowa State, which is a big matchup. A lot of points. I'm fine either way. This one I like. There is no, as per John Rothstein, Jackson Robinson in this game. I'm not sure. They had a nice win the other day, but there's still that issue with Kentucky. Kentucky has the worst defense inside the arc. They are the worst. That is a terrible sign against Tennessee, who's going to pound you with their physicality. Now, you're going to say, Mike, but Kentucky won at Tennessee. Yes, they did. Kentucky shot 12 of 24 from three-point range in that game. Jackson Robinson had 17 points. He was the second league scorer. He is not playing tonight. And they shot 12 of 24 from three-point range. And in that game, I believe, was that the game that Ziegler got hurt and came back? It could have been. There was no Lamont Butler in that game either. I don't think they're getting swept. I don't. I like Rick Barnes in this spot. I think Tennessee is righted the ship. Tennessee, big win over Florida by 20, beat Missouri by 4, won at Oklahoma start to finish. They're good. They have Vanderbilt. You want to say that's a payback game, I guess, but they have a payback game for Kentucky tonight. I'm taking them there. Eastern Carolina +2. It's your call. I put it up there. I like St. Louis a lot. I've been waiting to fade George Mason. George Mason is not that good. George Mason, Tony Skinn has done an incredible job. George Mason is leading the A-10. They are 10-1. They are one game ahead of VCU. Tony Skinn, you can give an argument for coach of the year, but this is still a George Mason team that if you look at their metrics, they struggle on offense. They turn the ball over a lot. They're not great inside the arc, and they only shoot 67% from the free throw line. They are winning it with abject physicality. Now they are coming off a 9-game losing streak, which is the fifth best. Well, I'm sorry, 9-game winning streak, which is the fifth best winning streak in the entire country. And they're playing a St. Louis team they have yet to see this year. They have had an incredible win, a double overtime win over George Washington at home, a win in overtime over Loyola Chicago. They beat George Washington away by 3. At some point, this is going to regress. It would not shock me that St. Louis, even though they're shorthanded tonight, Isaiah Swoop hits 3 threes to start the game. Avila's on fire. Gibson Jimerson's wide open, and away they go. I'm taking St. Louis +1.5. Shout out to my brother-in-law, Joe Polino, on this one. Kansas State is on fire, and I do not step in front of a bus in any way, shape, or form when they're rolling. Kansas State is playing really well. I have not been a fan historically of Jerome Tang, but they beat West Virginia. They beat Oklahoma State. They beat Iowa State away by 19. They beat Arizona State. They beat Kansas. They are rolling. Do not mess with Kansas State right now. And this is an Arizona team that is due for a loss. They are 11-1. They're tied atop they're one game behind Houston, in the Big 12. And who do they play on Saturday? Houston. This is the classic sleepy spot. Kansas State, I'm fine with the outright win here, +3.5. They just beat Texas Tech at home. Arizona, now they're going to Houston. Caleb Love has a bad shooting game. You can see this happening. Do not mess with the Octagon of Doom. Kansas State +3.5. I'm fine with it there. I mentioned this, Jerry, before. This is my pick here, the Indiana State one. I did have it in. It's dependent on Leon Bond. I'll take SEMO, 5.5 at Arkansas Little Rock. Not a fan of Arkansas Little Rock. They're hard to figure with their consistency in the Ohio Valley. They are 10-4, but they have those moments where they lost back-to-back to Eastern Illinois and Tennessee State. They played Southeast Missouri earlier this year away and won by 2. This is the flip-flop spot. And Southeast Missouri themselves have a Kansas State-like momentum to them. Western Illinois, Tennessee Martin, Tennessee State, Morehead State, Southern Indiana, 10-4. You look in the Ohio Valley, you have Little Rock at 10-4. You have Southeast Missouri at 10-4, and you have the SIU Edwardsville at 10-4. This is a first-place battle. Yes, the game is at Little Rock, but it's 5.5 points. I'm taking them there. I believe in Mick Cronin. I know Illinois is going to run them up and down the court. I just believe in Mick Cronin. I believe in his defense. If you want to counter and say, Mike, this is the point where UCLA comes crashing back, I'd have no problem with that. But the guy can coach. You may not like his personality. You may not like how he goes after his coaching staff and his players. Iowa, Wisconsin, Washington, USC, Oregon, Michigan State, Penn State, the guy can coach. I understand if your thought tonight is, Mike, the run ends here, that they've won 7 straight games and the run ends here. I don't know about Illinois. I get it. They just rolled Minnesota and they're probably back to it. 5.5 is a lot. I get you want to ignore this game. That's fine. I'm probably going to go a half unit or a little bit on this one. I'm taking UCLA plus 5.5. Yeah, it's a lot of points. Not a top play. It's just, again, it's a lot of points. You're going to Marquette has been struggling. They lost 3 straight games. You want to argue this is a bounce back spot. Maybe it's just a lot of points. They won in overtime at DePaul on January 14th. So DePaul plays them well. Whatever. You can ignore this one. I get it. 18. Nobody really likes 18.5. It's too many points. I missed at Valley State last night, but I had to put it out there. I think Pitt's turned a corner. SMU can score an awful lot. So if you like SMU, you may want to look at some of the players on SMU for individual bets there. They've won 4 straight games. Here comes Pittsburgh's physicality. I just have this thing with Pittsburgh. They've lost 3 straight. They lost to Wake Forest. They lost to Virginia. They lost to North Carolina. But they're desperate. They're a physical team, and they're desperate. A lot of points, kind of up and down. No strong play either way. I don't know what to do with this. Michigan State got me because Richardson ended up having a game of his life, 27 points. Oregon played really well and should have had that game as the outright win. Forget the cover. I kind of like Michigan State here. I'm fine with that. Look ahead spot. Could be. I don't think Texas is very good. It could be a look ahead spot. Your call. I think there's other picks here. I'd be careful. You know this one's coming. Stan Johnson on the road against Pepperdine. I mean, is anyone surprised by this? Pepperdine beat Pacific, beat San Diego. They lost their last 2 games. They have struggled at home for sure. They have not played Loyola Marymount yet this year, but they're home. And Stan Johnson and Loyola Marymount with those 3-point shooters, there's variance. Your call. But Pepperdine plus 2, I think, is interesting. I do think Oregon bounces back. I believe in Dana Altman. I think they come home and they put a whooping on Northwestern. I love Northwestern, and I love everything they're doing, but they're kind of doing it with smoke and mirrors. They're physical. If this game is home, it's a different story. But this is one of the few favorites today that I'm very comfortable with. I do think Oregon is an NCAA tournament team. I think they're going to make it. They've had some struggles, but they're still a very good team metrically. They're still 16-8. They're only 5-8. They have to get some wins here. But over the next 7 games in conference play, if they end up getting 6 of those 7 and they're 11-9 and they make a nice run, they're going to make the tournament. They lost to Minnesota. That was brutal. They lost to UCLA, Nebraska, Michigan, Michigan State. I think they get Northwestern here. They have not played Northwestern yet this year. I think Northwestern is in the wrong spot here. They lost to Illinois. They lost to Rutgers. They lost to Wisconsin. They lost away at Washington. Now they're playing an absolutely desperate Oregon team that still was in the top 12 of that week 6 AP poll. Now, I'm not saying they're winning the national title. I just think they're better than they're showing. I think they get it right tonight. And teams have shot 79% from the free throw line against them. How about a little regression tonight for them as well? Comments. That's it for me. Let's see what we got here. Hi, Roland. We love Mooney. Go Spiders. Very good. Yeah, I like West Virginia, Helms. It's only 1.5, but I like them at home. It's very tough to win on the road during this time of year where the fans are there. It's very tough to win on the road. I like West Virginia too. Jerry, I'm fine with it. The argument here for Vandy is that Auburn is in between the Florida loss and the Alabama game. And Vanderbilt's really tough at home and has beat Kentucky and Tennessee at home. The counter is Auburn's coming off a loss. Do you really think they're going to go into Alabama with 2 straight losses? But maybe 10.5 is too much. I'm fine with that. You would think so, Helms, because they stink. You would think so. Austin would. I agree with you, Austin. I would rather watch Buffalo NIU. I would. Yeah, I can't go with Miami. I can't either. I'm probably on Syracuse. There's other plays. Helms like the Vols. Let's see here. Yeah, I agree, Howie. And no Jackson Robinson is a huge hit, 17 points. He was good from 3-point range. I get Lamont Butler is back. He didn't play in the first game, but that's a big one. Yeah, and that was the big game because they shot the lights out. Let's see. Does Frank like St. Louis in the under? I got to check the Discord. I don't know. What did Frank put out today for his play? Again, that's why you got to get in the Discord. Frank Brank's got all his plays. There's no one better than Frank here. I don't think Frank has that out yet. No, I don't think he has his plays out yet. So that's why you got to join Discord, Jerry. You're probably in there, I think. Let's not go nuts, Austin. Let's take it easy with that. Okay. Love you, Austin. Love you. Fan of the show, but let's not go crazy. Well, that Jefferson, I didn't know that. I think Jimerson was fine. If Gibson Jimerson doesn't play for St. Louis, that is a stay away. If Gibson Jimerson does not play for St. Louis, that is a stay away. So thank you for that. Arizona has been hot, but K-State is rolling. You're rolling and you're at home in the Octagon of Doom. That's fine. Helms likes Little Rock. Yeah, I'm fine with UC. I just think there's a chance that everything comes back to earth with UCLA, and Brad Underwood is a superior coach. I don't like going against Brad Underwood at home, but UCLA's physicality is playing so well. I get it. The concern is the start. If they get buried at the start, they could be in trouble. Marquette's going to be a bounce back. I'm not sure about that. That was brutal, Austin, because they played so well. I mean, they sometimes, right process, wrong result. Let's see. Yeah, I get it. Quincy wants to know favorite underdog today. Good question, Quincy. Favorite underdog? I'm looking. I kind of like Quincy Bowling Green. I do. I think Bowling Green. I don't think Ohio is winning by 5 on the road. I'm not a Bowling Green guy, but the ones that I put in the Discord, I put in Bowling Green. I put in Toledo plus 3.5, Central Michigan, St. Louis. I also like Kansas State. I would probably say Kansas State, Quincy. I would say Kansas State ahead of Bowling Green. There's my answer. DePaul first half. Sure, Nick, you can try that. Be on the lookout today, everyone, for the Irish. Is that the Irish? What are you talking about? Is that the Irish? They playing today? Wags, what are you talking about, brother? I don't think Notre Dame's playing. Who knows? Who knows what Wags is talking in code here, which is very disappointing. Appreciate that. Anyway, that's it. That's all we got for today, folks. I'm going to get in the Discord now, which is why I got to get in, add some more plays. Oh, best of luck. Sorry, Wags, and best of luck. Sorry. Be on the lookout. Sorry, Wags. I apologize. We're ready to go. We'll be back on Thursday. Know the deal Saturday morning. Let's see if we can get to the window here. Pretty good day. We had a double win, first half in full on Houston last night against Baylor. Let's see if we can keep going. As always, guys, I appreciate you. You are the best. Remember, join us here at ftmfantasy.com. Get in the Discord because we find you the edge.
The NFL team previews.
Here are 3 players to watch in the NCAA tournament that